caught in a net with ANet. For your mind, body, and soul gets caught in a net with ANet. It's your intellectual radio show, here to inspire and encourage you to be your very best. Get caught in a net with ANet.
You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with ANet, where your hosts, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need ANet? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
And welcome to another wonderful segment of Mind, Body, and Soul with ANet. I'm your host, Annette Harris. Thank you in advance for watching and or listening on today. We are grateful to be here. And of course, let me do what I do always. I have to acknowledge the Lord. Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day that you've blessed us to see. We thank you for all that you've done and what you're going to do. And we even thank you for this special segment on today. Get the glory out of whatever we go to say and do. In Jesus' name we pray. And our opening scripture is the first part of Hosea 4:6, and it states, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee." And again, I'm excited to be here on this afternoon. I always tell you, if you see my face on a Wednesday afternoon around noon, it's time for you to come on and get caught in a net. We are here. We are in the virtual house on today, if you will. And of course, our show airs through intellectual radio. And our super duper producer, Errol Winfrey, has actually placed the audio portion of today's segment on my YouTube channel. So there are a couple of different ways you can listen to us on today. You can go to my YouTube channel, type in Get Caught in the Net once you're on YouTube, and you can hear us there. At the end of the segment, we will upload the video portion as well. And of course, on my page, on Facebook, Get Caught in the Net, we are here live. So as you guys come in, I always ask you if you would do me a humongous favor, like and share, click the share button, click the thumbs up, the heart, the care button, the nice little care button that they've added now. Let us know that you're here, shout out, because sometimes you may be listening and I don't know you're there. Just let me know you're there. Say, hey, hi, or something. We're glad that you have consented to join us on this afternoon. And I am so excited because I have a wonderful, distinguished gentleman in my presence on today. And one thing, what you all know about, you should know about ANet. I love it when my brothers take their rightful place. And when they are doing what they know to do to help their families, the communities, and those around them, when they care. I love to see that, and I love to push and promote it. So today's guest is no different, but this is his first time here on Mind, Body, and Soul, and I'm so glad I finally got a chance to actually like really meet him on yesterday when we did our audio check on yesterday. So Dr. Paul Phillips is in the house. How are you doing on this afternoon?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I am so glad that you consented. I did reach out to him. I'm like, should I not? You know, I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. Just throw it on out there. My motto is always ask questions. It never hurts to ask.
Right.
Okay, and we're going to highlight his wonderful foundation that he is the founder of. You all have seen the promos that I've been placing out. Better Man Than Me Foundation. It's easy to kind of run through that and then maybe say Better Than Me Foundation, but no, you got to throw that man in there. There's a reason for this. And I'm just going to read a little bit about Dr. Phillips, and then we're going to ask him to go ahead and talk about himself to you all, so you all will understand and know who he is and where he came from. But let me just read a little blurb. He's got a plethora of information here. Okay, he's the founder of the Better Man Than Me Foundation, which was launched in April of 2011. His organization has served almost 10,000 young men in the Chicagoland area and approximately 1,000 young ladies. Now that's good to see, during various mentoring sessions throughout the city and suburbs. As of July of 2020, the foundation has awarded 9 academic scholarships. And I'm sure that was no easy feat. During the pandemic, Better Man Than Me Foundation served families in South Africa, Nigeria, and Chicago and the surrounding suburbs. This man is out here doing his thing, y'all, I'm telling you. Paul has been volunteering for various organizations since his early teens. Before establishing the Better Man Than Me Foundation, he created a sick and needy program that fed the homeless for approximately 20 years. Now, I'm going to stop right there. He's got degrees all over the place, and I'm loving it. He's an award-winning international speaker. But there was one blurb in here that caught my attention, and I need to find it because it mentioned, Paul, about how you feel that this was your life's mission, what you're doing now.
Yeah.
That's what grabbed me. Oh, I love all the accolades because we need those. But I'm looking, I'm like, wow, he says it's his life mission, guys. And so he's out here doing it. Now, some of you probably feel, okay, my life's mission is to do this, but are you doing it? What are you doing? Okay. All right, I'm gonna shut my trap. I'm gonna ask Dr. Paul to come on and talk about himself real quick before we kind of go into talking about why we have him here on today. And so that you will understand and know who he is. Dr. Paul?
Great. Again, thanks so much for having me. I'm Paul Phillips. About me, I was born and raised in Chicago. Grew up on the south side of Chicago, was born in Markham, Illinois, to a mother I was raised by my mom and my 3 sisters, a single mom. My dad was out of the picture by the time I was about 3 or 4 years old. Raised in the church, received the Lord at an early age at 7 years old at Bethel House of Prayer. Shout out to Bethel House of Prayer on the south side of Chicago. Went to Chicago public schools, struggled quite a bit, was not a great student at all, which is a huge part of my story, but graduated from Morgan Park High School, went to Roosevelt, got my bachelor's degree at Roosevelt University, got my master's degree from Loyola University, and received my doctorate degree from Hope Seminary Bible Institute in South Bend, Indiana. So, and that was about, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago. So that's just kind of me in a nutshell. I believe very much in education and salvation. Somebody once said when I was a young child that salvation and education is what saved their lives, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Oh, I love it. Markham. Did you say Markham?
I'm sorry.
You grew up in Markham?
No, I was born in Markham. I grew
You're
up
okay.
in Morgan Park, Illinois. And I should pause because my offsprings are going to see this and they're going to say, you didn't even mention us. So I have two beautiful daughters, one daughter who's going to be turning 27 on Sunday. And then I have another daughter who is going to be 25. So 27 and the 25-year-old, they're the loves of my life. So yeah, that's me.
Wow. You don't look like you have anyone that's 25 and 27.
Well, I'll pay you later. Thank you for saying that.
Right. I can be your best friend forever, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. Oh, that is beautiful. Yeah, I've seen your pictures of your children, and I love how you dote on them. That's beautiful. This is
Yes.
great stuff. Listen, I see you guys coming in, and we're going to, actually kind of go back and forth and correspond with you all that are here on Facebook Live. I do want to recognize a few of them that I see the names that are on here. Marcus is here. Yolanda Pounds, thank you for joining us. Michelle Casey, hey girl, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Marcus, I'm telling you, you are such a supporter. I appreciate you. Now, there are more on the viewer in the viewer number than I see names. So let us know you're here. We do appreciate you. Now, I always ask you, please, as I stated earlier, go ahead and click that share button. I always tell you it costs you nothing. It doesn't even cost you a penny to click that share button. What you're doing, you're reminding individuals that we're on, and you're also alerting others that we are on today. And we want as many that can to join in, whether it's live or they come back and see it. So even if you tag individuals in it, maybe they aren't able to watch it live, but they can also see it later as well. And so we want as many that can to learn about Dr. Paul on today. I'm telling you, this is tremendous. And we did discover on yesterday that we have so many people in common, from family to friends,
Yep.
and it's such a small world, but it could be a beautiful world. It really can.
That's right. That's right.
This is great stuff. Great stuff. Okay, so let's see here. I have, and I did inform him, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of your bio a little bit. We want to talk about this. Hey, Jeanette, thanks for watching. We want to talk about your foundation, and maybe we can start there. Of course, the culture and the climate that we're in now, I should say the climate that we're in now, I can see how your foundation, can definitely help. We see so much that has been happening, well before last year. Okay. But of course, last year had a, double impact on it with the pandemic and all of that. But I was looking at some stats earlier, Dr. Paul, about our young men. And according to USA Today, it says the young Black men and teens make up more than a third of firearm homicide victims in the USA in 2019. Okay.
Yeah.
And it goes on and tells us more here. It says this is a public health crisis in the making. They found that although Black men and boys ages 15 to 34 make up just about 2% of the nation's population, they were among 37% of gun homicides that year. Yeah. And so, I look at this and I cry. I look at this and my heart breaks. I look at this, of course, I can't help to think about, my nephews and my cousins and different ones like that. You don't want, them to be in situations like this, or, you definitely don't want them to be the next hashtag.
Right.
So what do we do, and how does Better Man Than Me Foundation kind of move in, onto some of these? And that was just a few stats. That wasn't even, I didn't even scratch the surface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how can Better Man Than Me Foundation kind of combat these stats, and what is the purpose, and what do you all do about it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big problem, but it's not a problem without solutions. We started this organization because we wanted to save our young men. We are in crisis and have been for many, many years. And we don't have all the answers, but we believe that we have a responsibility to do what we can to make our young men safe and successful. One of the reasons for those statistics is because young men, especially Black young men, feel helpless and they feel hopeless and hopeless. And we try to come in, the Better Man Than Me Foundation, and instill hope to these young men. And the reasons for that, one of the reasons is because we don't have many times someone in our lives to instill value, to let us know that we are valuable, that we are not a mistake. And when you get a young man that does not value his life, he a lot of times don't value the lives of others, and we become a statistics. We become one that commits violent acts. Because think of young men. We are young men, especially when we get around the age of 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. We have one thing running through our body, testosterone. And it's just a natural thing. And we could use that to become aggressive, and we can use that for good, which is why it's so important to put structure and boundaries in the lives of every young man, regardless to his skin color. And a lot of times young men don't have that structure. So what the Better Man Than Me Foundation does is come in and we do mentorship, and we try to teach young men values and standards that should have been taught by his father, his grandfather, and his uncle. And many times those people are absent. 99% of the young men that we have mentored are young men that have been raised by their mother or their grandmother, like I was. And shout out to single mothers, because it's where would we be without the mothers that have come and have just put us as their top priority, right? But I will say this, and I don't mean to disrespect women, but the best person to raise a child is a man. And a lot of times we just simply don't have that. So we try to come along, myself, and I have solicited to help of a lot of my colleagues, which are lawyers and doctors and police officers and ministers and entrepreneurs, to instill values. And I'll say this, a lot of times we become what we are exposed to. And a lot of the young men that we see have been exposed to men with bad behavior.
Mm.
So I want to come in and expose young men that looked like them, that grew up where they grew up on the south side of Chicago, and said, look, I started where you started, but God, with the help of God and a lot of hard work, I am now this. And I say that because when I invite a man to come, a successful man to come to mentor and to speak to the young men, I said, one thing I require of you, that you be transparent. Because one of the things our young men do, they see me and they don't see a clear line of sight to how to get to where I'm at. So that's why I always tell young men, I was raised by a single mom. I grew up on government cheese. Most of the time they don't understand what government cheese is, right?
You do.
Right. But I grew up on welfare. They call it Link now, right? I grew up, right? I struggled through school. I was where you are. So you can get from where you are to where I am with a lot of hard work and trust in God.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. My God, you just said so much.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, because you are, allowing them now. I love how you said it. You want them to understand you are someone, you are somebody, and not to, allow maybe society or your environment to dictate to you that you are not somebody, because you are. And that, for some young man to hear that, really, I'm probably sure they're probably like, really? I am
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
because they have so much negativism and going in their ears and what they see, and all, their eye gates, their ear gates, they see so much that is not positive. So when you step in and like you said, they see where you are now, but they're probably like, well, but how can I get there? Or can I really get there?
Exactly.
And right. And so I appreciate how your mentorship, you're coming in and you're allowing them to know, no, man, you can make a difference. No, man, you are somebody, and you're taking time out with them because they need that. And as you started talking, I was listening. I recalled a what TV show was this? Come on, I'm always watching these thrillers. Oh, was it all? No, was it all? No, Bull. I don't know if anybody watches Bull. On Monday night. Bull is a show where it talks about a research. He's not a lawyer, but he does like research analysis for, he has a firm or what have you, because he wants to be able to help the lawyers out. In other words, he tries to gauge the jury, and in doing so, he can advise the counsel that is, representing whoever. And so there was a case where this man, maybe years ago, the police framed him and said that it was a Black man, that he had killed somebody white. And then he had a young son at the time, and the son was maybe about 10 years old or something like that. And, they did the playback and saw how the police came in and got him and everything. And the son was just looking so just despondent, like, Dad, please don't go with them. You're not going to come back if you go with them. And he was like, no, son, it'll be okay. Because he's like, I didn't do anything, this is innocent, and he did not do it. But of course, they framed him. He was in jail for like 13 years. This is the show, right? But as you were talking, I was thinking about that young boy, the son. And so at that point, who was there to mentor him? Who is there to talk to him and to guide him through life? You know what I mean? Because that is what is needed. Now, thankfully, in this particular story, the young man grew up and he became a lawyer himself, the son. The dad eventually got out. But that's why we need the Dr. Pauls. You know what I mean? For sons like that, for individuals like that who have, unfortunately been placed in situations that they never thought that they would be. And, so what are they going to do about it? So, yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to relate that. But Rodney, Pastor Rodney said, I love Bull. Yeah, that's a very good show. That's a very good show.
I got to watch it.
Yeah, you take time to watch it. I love being intrigued by different shows, things like that. But my mind is always going fast forward, thinking about, our young men and their plight, if you will. Let's see, Karen is on, Robin is on. There was a comment on here, Apostle Hunt. He said, all right, now this is good already. You're listening to him, Apostle Hunt. He's the real deal. His comment here says they see the finished product, but many times we must make them aware of our journeys in order to show them that they can make it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree 100%. And that journey includes mistakes. One of the things I try to do is say, I didn't just get here. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And I suffered the consequences of those mistakes. So you see where I'm at now, but I could be a lot further along, but I made this particular financial mistake, or I made this mistake in my relationship. So you're going to make mistakes. I face challenges. So I require mentors to be completely transparent with the young man. Yeah, so he was right on that. Share the journey, man, with these young men.
I love it. Yeah. Be transparent. Like you said, show them, you may make mistakes as well, but you can make it.
Absolutely.
Pastor Rodney Jones, he says, hey, cousin Paul, great to see you. Now, are you guys related?
Yes, we are by marriage.
Okay. I'm like, you related to everybody.
Yeah. I love Pastor Jones. Love him. family.
Yeah, those are my guys. The Jones family, we came
Oh,
along
yeah.
with them down through the years. So they're like family to us.
Super talented, super anointed. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
And super crazy.
Yes, tell it, tell it. As a matter of fact, Larry Jones is going to be on my show next week. The
Awesome.
stock up guy, the
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be on my show next week. Let's see, another comment here. For young men, there is nothing like the sound of support and validation coming from another man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I will add not only validation, but you know, the Bible says that God chastened those who He loved. And one way to show love to a young man, and a lot of people get this wrong, and I'm not here to talk about women. Men and women are built differently. And a lot of times what our mothers do, because they're nurturers, they dote on us and they love us, and nothing's wrong with that. But one way to show a young man that you love him is when you chastise him and you put boundaries and standards in place that unconsciously sends a signal to him that you are worth my time, money, and energy. And I will not allow you to make the mistakes I made. I'm here to demand that you do the correct thing because you are a person of value.
Yeah, I like that.
Shown that when you correct young men and you put boundaries around them, they automatically feel love. Now they're not gonna, they're gonna scream, yell, rebel, and all of that. But at the end of the day, in their mind and in their souls, they feel loved.
Ooh, that is beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
And and yeah, that's reality. I can understand what you're saying. Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, they, like you said, they may not jump up and down, but that is
oh,
showing them that you love them.
absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes, correction, the apostle says.
yeah,
Accountability through love is what Michelle says.
yeah.
Yes. Pastor Rodney says he came to my family rescue when we were burned out many years ago. He is not just talking, he lives it. Oh, beautiful.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Make me cry up in here, y'all.
yeah. That's my family. Yeah, we've all had times, right? Well, we've fell on hard times. That's what God requires of us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love past.
yeah, beautiful. Well, that's an example, or he's telling everybody else who you are and how you are. So that's wonderful. And you know what? We need more of that because sometimes people do a lot of talking,
Oh yeah,
but their actions don't follow up with what they're saying. It
absolutely.
really doesn't.
Yeah,
So to
absolutely.
hear that, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Which is all the more reason why, we need you.
yeah,
We need you for sure. I mean, and you think about it, mothers, we need individuals like him.
yeah,
I'm an aunt. I don't have children of my own. I'm an aunt. I need you, whether we will sit here and admit it or not. But here is an individual who is going to help. He's going to help, with that accountability, with that, if the correction, all that he was talking about earlier, to help your loved one, whether it's your son, your nephew, or whoever,
yeah,
to get through. Now, I'm not trying to build him up like he's some, big individual, but the work that he's doing is great. I'm telling you, it's great.
yeah.
And I was also thinking, Dr. Paul, about, unfortunately, what was it, on Sunday, the 7-year-old that was killed in the drive-through at McDonald's the other
Oh
day.
wow.
What is her name? You all help me out. I know her last name was Adams, and that hit me because my mom's side of the family is Adams, but I don't know if there's any connection. But
Yeah.
her first name begins with a J. But unfortunately, her dad was driving,
Hmm.
and they were in the drive-through of the McDonald's, and he was in the back seat, and a couple of guys just came up and just started shooting up the car. They got
Wow.
her. I think he's
Yeah.
still alive,
Yeah.
but they got her. So then, that wasn't any a coincidence.
Right.
It wasn't a coincidence I think, for her dad and the ones that were actually doing the shooting.
Right. Who were they
You know,
aiming for?
yeah, who were they aiming for?
Yeah.
So if they had somebody, maybe in their lives to help guide them, you know what I'm saying? To help
Yeah.
mentor them. And you mentioned earlier, if they don't have it, they're gonna act out. They're gonna, go out and, I'm a man or whatever type thing. And so let's try and break it into some of our, current events, this mentoring, how it can help us.
Yeah. Again, that this, uh, we, we need help. Wars are started by men. Violence, 99% of it is committed by men, right? We have to get our men under control. And I said this when I started this organization 10 years ago. If we can save, if we can help and impact the men in our community will change overnight. Not that the women don't have issues, right? But if we can get our men, who God has called to be leaders and heads of the household, providers and protectors, and spiritual priests of our household, if we can get ourselves together mentally, physically, and spiritually, the mind, body, and soul, like you speak about all the time, our community will change almost overnight. I produced a documentary along with my brother Alvin Daniels a few years ago, and one of our speakers was Father Flager, and he said the same thing. He said if we could just change the men, our communities on 79th Street and on the south side of Chicago will change overnight, right? So I don't consider myself to be some special person. I'm simply doing what God commanded me to do. That's what I'm doing, right? Is what God commanded me to do. And because I saw other men do it as well. Fortunately, my mother was the type of mother, and she's a very soft-spoken mother, right? And she had this one son, and I remember her going through, especially when I started shooting up and getting taller than her at the age of 12, 13, 14 years old. I remember the confusion that I felt among her, with her. And she said, I don't know how to raise this boy. But fortunately, she had the wisdom to reach out to the men of my church who were godly men, who were educated men. They were not perfect men. And they took the time to mentor me. They took the time to give back to me. And I was exposed to these godly, educated men, and it touched me. And I said, guess what? When I get older, I vow to you, God, that I will do the same thing.
Because that was one of my next question. How did this get started? Wow.
Yeah. It was I was, again, we were a very poor family in that we was very poor. And I specifically remember an incident where it was around the holidays, one of the elders of the church knocking on our door and giving us 2 or 3 bags of groceries. And I'm standing at the door, a little boy, and my mom handed me, take this, boy, take this. And for some reason, in my ripe old age, that still sticks with me, and that stuck with me that moment in time. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to help single mothers. So that's why, during the pandemic last year, we couldn't go into the schools and mentor. So I'm going crazy. I can't do what I want to do. God showed me something to do. So we created the Pandemic Relief Fund, asked people to donate, and we went around the Chicagoland area. And I think we fed about 13 or 14 families. I required them to be single mothers with at least one son. And I know there's a lot of people that needed help, but I wanted to help single mothers that had at least one son. And most of them had 3 or 4 sons. And we drove around the city, Markham, South Side, West Side, and bags of groceries. Of course, they wanted cookies and candy and soda. I'm like, get some healthy stuff in there, right? But I don't want to get on that soapbox. And we took and we fed them, because it's not just like you said. We talked about this a few seconds ago. We have these churches. We can't just preach to them, but we got to fulfill a need. And a lot of times when you can feed them or help them and meet their needs on a natural level, their ears are open on a spiritual level.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You feed my stomach, I'm gonna listen to you a little bit better.
Exactly. Exactly. So
That's just reality.
that's true. That's true. So, we're grateful to do it. And we're grateful to all of our supporters, and so grateful to you and organizations like you, media like you, that allow us to just share our story.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, the more and more I sit here and listen, I'm like, wow, okay, this is good stuff. And I didn't know that you were doing that during the pandemic, but oh my God, it's needed. It's so needed. Now, I was seeing different ones who were going out and they just had their hearts were just, going out to the homeless and those who were just out, as well. And I saw that, and that's beautiful because, you know, you have to think. The past year has taken a mental toll on this entire world.
Yes. Yes, it has.
Here you have, and I've said this a number of times, here you have coming down from the government, you got to shelter in, you got to stay at home. This thing is out here, and and so people are like, and then you have individuals who home was not necessarily a refuge for them,
Exactly.
and that's going into a whole lot, you maybe had abusive homes or what
Yes.
have you. So, but to have somebody to take time out and say, okay, but I still want to help somebody,
Yeah.
and I don't know what your finances were at that time. A lot of people were going through, but you
Right.
still decided that you wanted to help somebody else because, but for the grace of God, it could be you. But again, you don't know what individuals are going through and what
Right.
they're struggling with. You tell somebody you can't go to work because of this pandemic. They don't have any money coming in. So
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
sure that food helped
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, if you are just now joining us, you haven't missed very much. Well, you've missed a lot, but I'm glad that you're here. I'm talking with Dr. Paul Phillips. He is the founder of the Better Man Than Me Foundation. And this young man, I'm telling you, he has done so much work, so many strides in helping out our young men and young women as well, as I read earlier, helping families. And this is his mission in life. And so we're talking with him on today. He wants to mentor, he wants to help them. And that could be your loved one that he wants to help. He could want to help you as well. So this is why we're talking to him today, so we can kind of get, get it out a little bit more about Better Man Than Me Foundation. We're going to allow you to allow him to share where you can find him and how to get in contact with him. If you have any questions or comments for Dr. Paul on today, go ahead and throw them into the comments section. I will be reading them, and hopefully we can answer them during this broadcast, or we will ask Dr. Paul to maybe kind of go back and see if there's anything. Maybe I can kind of tag him on some questions if we didn't get to them during the session. Now, there is a question on here. Oh, Pastor Rodney, he asked, how can the church network with you? I did see that question.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely reach out to me. Pastor Roddy knows how to reach out to me and connect with me. But yeah, you just email me, Dr. Paul Phillips at bmtm.com. Or I'm on Facebook all the time. So Dr. Paul, no space, at bmtm.com, or reach out to me, inbox me on Facebook, and we're on Instagram as well. Just shoot me a message and we can definitely connect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to type that in here as you're talking. So
Yeah, and we have
go ahead.
I'm sorry, we have a website as well, bettermanthanme.org, and you can send a message through that as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, guys, I am trying to type as he's talking. On the website, I did put the email in there so that you can make sure to get in contact with him, because again, you may have churches, you may have organizations, you may be trying to start up something that's similar to this, and maybe you need some advice on how to do it. This is the man right here that you need to connect with. And, I think now that was .org for the website, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, .org.
And yeah, so this is some good stuff here. I'm scrolling back up. Hi, Auntie San, thank you for watching. Angela Elaine said that it's a true blessing to be a help. We need more people like him. I totally agree. That's why I have him here. Buddy Gill is watching. We appreciate you. Hey, Robin. Thank you for joining in. Joseph Daniel Phillips, how are you, my friend? He says, awesome job, Dr. Paul. So many young men snatched off streets and encouraged to be better and do better. Great organization. Yeah. That's a good comment. I was thinking of something else as I was reading that, but let me read some other comments because Annette can talk. Shirley Hill says most young men know how to work their mother because she sees him as her baby and not a man in progress.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
She's very correct, right? And a young man needs both, a child and a young woman. We come into this world, we're designed to have mom and dad. And when we don't have mom and dad, we're missing a crucial part of our upbringing. We need that nurturing that comes from mom, but we need that strong hand that comes from dad.
Oh, that is so true. Yeah. And they both bring, maybe separate characteristics or whatever to the table. So yeah, I like the way you just summed that up. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Jaslyn Adams, thank you. Who put that name in there for me? Was that, Yolanda, thank you. That was the young lady, the young 7-year-old, unfortunately, whose life was cut short on this past weekend. Demetrius, how are you? Thanks for coming in. You guys make sure to click that share button, click it. I'm scrolling through, making sure I'm not missing anything else on today. This is something that we all need to listen to. Marcus said here, don't know if I would be alive today without tough love from my dad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And tough love is tough. It's not easy. It's tough and it does not feel good, but it is good for you.
Yeah. My sisters and I always say, the way we were brought up, the way we were brought along, it didn't feel good, but we're the better for it. We're the better.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, for sure. Okay, let's see here. At gmail.com. Oh, thank you. Yolanda, can you do me a favor then? This Yolanda is on it. Thank you, my dear. Can you type in his correct email for me? I think I left off the Gmail. If you can type in Dr. Paul Phillips' correct email fully for me, and then I will pin it at the bottom so that everyone can know that they can contact him via email and or his website. But thanks for catching that, Yolanda. I appreciate it. You're over here doing like 50 things at one time, and so you may kind of slip off with a little something. That's all right. Let's see here. I was looking at your website and looking at your why of why you created this foundation. And statistics were in there. You talked about the crisis among young men. Now, we just heard everyone about his own personal reason why he wanted to help, single mothers or help someone else. But you started this foundation in 2011.
Yeah.
So before 2011, what was Dr. Paul doing to try and facilitate or trying to nurture that feeling that he experienced when he was young?
Yeah, so a good question. First of all, I've been mentoring. The organization is only 10 years old, but I've been mentoring young men for about 30 years. And it's not something that I just wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to help, but it's not, mentoring specific was not in my plan, but it was funny. In my 20s, in my mid and late 20s, I just noticed that a lot of young men were drawn to me and were asking questions. And I'll be honest with you, Ned, I felt really unqualified because I'm like, one, I'm struggling myself. I'm incomplete myself. And one, I was not raised by my dad. So how can I teach another young man? Nor do I have sons. And when God called me, and I do believe God called me to do this, ironically, in my head, I'm like, God, I don't even have sons. I don't have any brothers. I don't have a father. All of my uncles are in the South. So I was raised by women. I was raised by my mom, my grandmother, and my great aunt. So why are you calling me? You should call some guy. Anyway, that was the conversation I had in my head. But young men has always been drawn to me, and God has allowed me to help young men. There was one young man that we mentor, one of my first mentees. He's a state trooper now, I believe, in Indiana. And he was leaving the church to go into training. And he stood up and he read a letter about this awesome, thank the pastor. And I want to thank this awesome person that's been really help in my life. And I'm like, wow, this is the first time, Annette, that I thought that maybe this is what God has called me to do. And he's reading his letter about this person. I'm like, that was a great person. And at the end, he said my name. I'm like, oh, you're talking about me. I was so thrown back because I did not realize the impact that I had had in his life. So anyway, for short, I've been mentoring young men for 30 years, and I've also was feeding the homeless. And we don't have time to talk about, I don't want to get on the soapbox of the homeless, but it is something that I don't believe has to exist in this country. There is more than enough to go around, but because of greed, one of the reasons, I know there's mental health issues and drug issues and relationship issues, but because of greed, homelessness exists. So you asked me what I've been doing. I started a program where we would feed the homeless. We work really closely with the Chicago Christian Industrial League. I think it's now called Safe Haven. And I was actually on their board for a short period of time, which actually started because every year for Easter and Christmas, I would bring my entire church, with the permission of my pastor, the entire church down, and we would give out gifts to the children and put on a concert and give them candy, because these were children in a homeless shelter. So that's near and dear to my heart, because we struggle in our homes, in our warm beds. I can't imagine going through life living on a viaduct, trying to survive in this world. Yeah. So I said I wasn't going to get off on that soapbox, and I did.
That's okay. You know, it needs to be touched on. So I totally agree with you. There's enough to go around. But go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. You know, education. I'm big on education. We push education. That's what we give a scholarship. I mentioned earlier is something I think is key, and I don't just mean formal education, which I'm big on, but knowledge. I know is a cliche. Knowledge is power, and we need to educate ourselves. So one of the things I teach young men, one of the things I told my daughters, ever since they were 2, you will go to college because you need to be educated. Why? Because when you have knowledge, you have power, and you have options. You have options, right? So when you're educated and you have resources, you're not stuck with that man. You're not stuck in your mother's basement. You're not stuck in a job that you don't want, because you have options. You have knowledge and you have resources. So we teach the young men, and I've been teaching, I love teaching. I would teach full time if they paid enough, but they don't. That's another story. I love it because it's a gift that God gave me, and I encourage everybody to learn what your gifts are. And one of the things I learned, that teaching is one of my gifts. I love it. And so I teach young people that you need to be educated in some fashion, to have a plan. We talk a lot about goal setting. We talk a lot about making sure you give back to the community. We talk about making a plan, right? And I tell the young men all the time on that, I said, the world has no use for a grown man that don't know how to do anything. We tend to have sympathy on women and children and puppies. But when the world, when the courts, when other women see a full-grown, healthy man, there's very little sympathy for you, right? When you don't know how to do anything, when you don't have any resources, right? You don't. So you get yourself an education, become a resourceful individual, because your job here is not to just be a consumer. At some point, young man, you have to evolve from being just a consumer to being a producer, to solving a problem, to giving back. And if you can't do that, you're missing the mark.
Well, you just taught us something right there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was profound. That was
Yeah.
profound.
Yeah.
My goodness, they're throwing up their emotions here, so they're enjoying you on today, as am I. Yolanda, thanks for correcting that email for me. This is some great stuff. They have to hear. Marcus said bullseye. Yes, and Marcus, you know what? I think you all need to make some kind of connection, because that Marcus is, he's a financial professional. We had him on last week, but this is right up his alley as well. This is we need this. I can't say this enough. We need this so bad. And thank you for giving the reason, your why.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. I wanted to say something earlier when I read and when you talked, I read about how many young men, 10,000 young men thus far in his organization that he has served, and 1,000 young ladies. And honestly, Dr. Paul, when I read that, I just still link that to families.
Yes.
And which is another reason why on one of my posts, I said, save our men, then you save our families.
Yes. Yes.
The word of God tells us that the man is the head of the house. So if they are put in their position in their rightful position as head,
Yes.
they affect the rest of their family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like the negative part is affecting the rest of their family. So
Absolutely.
then, of course, this positive should affect it as well. So yeah, I just had to throw that in. I just keep thinking about, if you get our men in place, I'm telling you, the families are gonna fall right in line.
Everything else will fall in place. Everything else will, we men, we like to talk, especially as Christian church boys, we like to talk about that scripture. Women, submit yourselves to your husbands, right? We love that scripture, right? Yeah, you're supposed to submit to me. But it's difficult to submit to a man that has no knowledge, no resources, no self-control. Don't let me get started on the self-control. No self-discipline. Because when you have self-discipline and self-control, you can get these other things. Self-discipline and self-control will make you get up and go to the gym, go to your job, go to school, help you study, and all of these different things, right? And it's difficult to submit or follow a man, not just a wife, but a church and a family, a child, a daughter, when he has no self-discipline, no self-control, no direction, and no vision for himself and no vision for his family. I've been asking people lately, what's your vision for your life? What is your vision for your life, right? And especially, I've been asking people in my age group, we're in our 50s now. What do you see yourself in 10 years when you're 65 years old? What's your vision? Because you have to be intentional. It won't just happen. You have to be intentional, and no one's coming to save us. No one. When Obama became president, I remember a lot of Chicagoans, President Obama needs to come back to Chicago. And I was on another radio program just like this. I said, no, fathers need to come back. Fathers need to come back to their homes. That's what needs to happen, right? We have to stick in there and hang in, and it's not easy. It is not easy, especially for Black men in America. It is not easy. But your presence has power. I once mentored a young man, ANet. He was 33 years old. He had 3 felonies and 6 children. So he's now with his wife and his 6 children. And he's like, Dr. Paul, I'm struggling, because these kids, they always want something. I said, I get it. And he said, I don't have a job, couldn't get a job because he had 3 felonies. I said, I get it. but don't run, because he was about to run. I said, because your presence is powerful. Just the fact that you are there in that home, and I know you feel less than a man because you can't provide right now, but the fact that you are in that home, you are sending a signal to your daughters and that your son, that they are covered and that they are protected. Your presence is powerful. Just being there, just being there. You don't have to be perfect, but just be there. Don't be abusive. Don't be disrespectful, but just be present.
Oh, you're going to make me cry today. You really are. I can get really, really sensitive, but those are some words that he needed to hear, from someone like you, like you said, because he's about to run. But
Yes,
then think about that family. They need you. They need you, man.
that's
You
right.
know?
They need
Wow.
you.
Wow. Let's see. Angela says, no one is coming to save us. Say it again for the people in the back because they didn't get it.
That's right.
Angela, thanks for joining. I appreciate you. Beatrice is here. She says, good afternoon. Okay, she's here now. She'll rewind what she missed. Thank you. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys click that share button if you haven't done so already. Click the share button. We're talking again with Dr. Paul Phillips. He is the founder of the Better Man Than Me Foundation. And this foundation, I'm telling you, is it is doing what it's supposed to do. Dr. Paul, I wanted to ask you real quick. When you started off, I was asking you about the why, and you mentioned about what you were doing before you actually organized this foundation. You mentioned about the young men that were coming to you and were basically asking you for help, so to speak, or needing you to mentor them. You're like, well, what are you seeing in me? Why do you think that they were, if I can use the word loosely, attracted to come to you at that point in time in your life?
Yeah, so as I look back on it, here I am in my mid-20s. I uh, I was in school working on my master's degree, had a wife and two little kids at the time. So I think they were attracted to that structure and that direction. That I was a leader in my church. I was a young minister at the time. So they were attracted to, oh, this guy's getting up. He's speaking, and he's taking care of his wife. He's taking care of his children. He's going to school. He has a job. He has this sick and needy committee. So I think young men are attracted to, not just young men, people are attracted to people that are going somewhere, that are doing something, right? And, and again, I came from humble beginnings, but these young men were also in the position that I started out in. So here he is, nice car, pretty wife, pretty kids. How do I get that, right? How do I get that? So they were looking at those things. And I'll be honest with you, and I mean that wholeheartedly. When I speak to young men, I talk a lot about money and success that I would not normally do because it's not classy to talk about the material things. But I know where young men are, and God told me to meet young men where they are. A lot of times when I'm in a group of young men in a neighborhood, a lot of young men, the reason why they get caught up in drugs and gangs is because of the flash and the bling and what have you. And I like to tell young men, you can have a good life, a successful life, and not go into those particular things. So here's where I am. Here's what I've accomplished. Here's what I have, not because I'm bragging, but I started out on government cheese. And I've noticed a lot of time young men will perk up. Oh, okay, you drive this, you travel the world, not bragging, but you don't have to end up and stay on the south side of Chicago. This is just stay there. Nothing's wrong with the south side of Chicago, but this is a great big world that God created. And he intended for you to live an abundant life and enjoy all of it, not just the south side of Chicago. So here's where I started, or here's where I'm at. And that's because I trusted God and I worked hard. I real hard, right? So I tell them about the material stuff because that's what their ears are looking for at the time.
All right. Meet them where they are.
Meet them where they are.
I mean, because you come, You come try, you all the way up here trying to talk to somebody and they down here. What are you saying? I can't hear you. I don't understand what you're saying because you know what I mean? So yeah, meet them where they are. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, Maysola Simpson, thanks for watching. She says PMS equals power, money, and sex. Interesting.
PMS, so I got to use that one.
I've never seen that before either. That's deep.
Yeah.
Let's see, Elder McGee, thank you so much for joining us on today. Before we end the session on today, we're definitely going to play. He has a spoken word that he penned for us for today's segment. So thanks for watching on today. Make sure, again, you guys click that share button. Click the share button. Oh, let's see, where do I want to move from here? You know, Dr. Paul, you know, he talked not extensively about himself, but he was the host of his own radio show. We did mention that he's an award-winning international speaker, and he kind of alluded to it in some of his last statements there about traveling. I want to know, not the government cheese, Angela says. She said it was so good. Angela, that government cheese was good. I don't know why you getting me off with that, but that government cheese was good.
Yes, it was. Grilled cheese sandwiches after school? Absolutely.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Okay, so you're international speaking. Now, I'm sure you did a lot of that before the pandemic. Is that accurate?
Correct. Once, the pandemic hit, they shut all of that down. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you would go internationally and speak, was it about the foundation itself, or what did all that entail?
So as part of my profession, I have a background in IT and business. So a lot of times I was invited to speak at conferences to talk about those things, talk about business concepts that I've taught at different colleges and stuff. So that's where my international speaking come in. So what I would do is when I go to a particular country, you have me here for business or what have you, where can I volunteer? Where can I connect with people? Which is how we ended up helping families in South Africa, because I visited South Africa and spoke there, and also Nigeria. So I go on business opportunities, but then I look for a way to volunteer and give back.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, obviously you're not pushing it aside when you go international, See, you still have it's still in your heart of helping that mission.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's try and create a scenario here and tell me how you would handle this. So if I can maybe go back to these unfortunate incident that happened over the weekend with the young lady. We'll just talk about the young 7-year-old. So the men who actually committed the crime, and then the one who was the father that was driving.
Mm-hmm.
How would you handle situations like that? I mean, say some of them coming to you now after this incident is over. Man, I messed up. How do I? Is it too late for me? Do you have individuals that even ask you that? Do they get with your mentoring and your helping? Do you think they've gone too far for you to help, or how would you address situations like that?
So it's funny you asked, because when I started mentoring, I was mentoring, when I started the organization, we were mentoring a lot of young men with my background. I've never been on drugs, never been in jail, never been in a gang. So we were mentoring a lot of young men, church boys and what have you. And I asked, which was fine, because we all need mentorship. But I asked God, Lord, let me mentor some of these hardcore young men. And I don't know why I asked that, because I have no experience, right? But God began to send me hardcore young men. One of the young men we mentored, I told you about the guy with the 3 felonies, but one of the first young men he allowed us to mentor had 5 felonies and had spent years in the penitentiary. And he came out and he was so hungry. And he actually came through me because I was teaching at Aurora University, and his mother was a student. So his mother wanted me to mentor him. So we were able to mentor young men that has been ex-drug dealers, ex-drug users, that have committed assault on women and all these types of things. And one of the things I would tell them, first of all, is never too late. And you have not gone too far. And nothing has taken place in your life that God did not allow, right? He didn't make you do these things, but God can stop anything, anytime, anywhere. But when he allows things, he allows it for a reason. So he wants to use you and use your mistakes to help others. Everything that we go through, right? You've heard the saying, our mess becomes our ministry. Now you have a ministry, right? And actually this young man that I spoke about, his ministry is reaching back to young men in prison. He wants to help men that are still in prison, because he was in prison and he knows how it is. So I would tell these men, yeah, you have made a mistake, a life-altering mistake. And one of the things you must do is accept the consequences. That's one of the problems we have with our men, and especially our young Black men. Nobody wants to hold us accountable. You must accept the consequences. And if more of us knew what the consequences are, we might not commit the crime or commit the act, right? But then, one, you made a mistake, right? But as long as you have breath in your body, there's hope for you and you can recover. But you've made your bed difficult. But you can reach past this and you can turn out to be great. And I would point to different people that have committed or have experienced the things that they've committed and have exceeded and excelled in life. Yeah. It's possible. So that's the main message that I would tell them. Yes, you made a mistake. Deal with it. Where do you go from here? Because as long as you're alive, in 5 years, you're going to be 5 years older. In 10 years, you're going to be 10 years older. Get up from where you are, become strategic, stop feeling sorry for yourself, pay for your crime, even pay those that you've harmed. She used to say, she used to give a simple analogy. Don't go apologize to somebody for stealing their chicken when you got their chicken behind your back. Give that chicken back to them. So if you can make up to those that you harm, you're required to do so. So I would tell these young men, give back to those that you harm and give back to your community. And go get another young man that looks like you, that grew up where you grew up, that's doing some of the things that you're doing, and teach him not to make the same mistakes you make. Everybody make mistakes, but that's why I named my foundation A Better Man Than Me. Young man, you're going to make mistakes, but I'm hoping you don't make the mistakes that I made, because I'm here to guide you. And I hope you make less mistakes because you got a me, or you got another man in your life that's here to guide you, right? So those are the things, some of the things that I would tell young men. And everything you do, man, is going to impact your family. Everything that I do, I'm a grown man. I'm a full grown man, Annette. But every time I go to do something, I say, oh, wait, what I do is going to impact my mother. My 78-year-old mother is going to impact my daughters, is going to impact my foundation, is going to impact my sisters and their family. So everything you do is going to impact the people that you are around. And if you are a king, like you say you are a king, because that's what we call ourselves, kings take care, kings build, kings protect, kings produce. That's what kings do. They don't tear down, they build up, right? So, and I don't know the situation. I'm not judging the man in the car. Where you go, be at the right place at the right time, because you don't know when it's going to come back on you. And it kills me that these men, I saw a video on YouTube about a man saying, dude, gangbang, if you're going to shoot, at least hit the target that you're shooting for, instead of hitting these young, innocent babies, right? This young girl just got killed, possibly because the killer was aiming at somebody that wasn't so innocent in the car that she was in. Yeah. Because if you If you handle your business right, it won't impact your family. Everything I do is impacting my family. I'm building a legacy. Even when I go buy a car, even when I go spend my money. Now I can spend all this money on it because it's my money. I made it. I work hard for it, but I can put some aside because the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. So rather than me spending it all up on some Jordans or some J's or whatever they call shoes now, or my car or my clothes, let me put something away so my kids don't have to struggle and start at ground zero. And then their kids start at ground zero. But let's leave an inheritance for our children and our children's children, right? So we don't have to start where we start. Build, leave a legacy. That's what I would tell a young man. You got to leave a legacy. I'm sorry, I said.
I'm just listening. I mean, you just took away my words. This is good. I mean, that was perfect. That was perfect. That's what they need to hear. So,
Yeah.
because I'm always thinking about every aspect of a situation like that. So, of course, I'm thinking about the assailants. I'm thinking about the victims. I'm thinking about all of that. And if there was a way to get to them, what would you do? That was perfect. There, Buddy says, each one reach one, teach one. Now we're growing. That's good stuff. Marcus says truth. Buddy also says facts tell, stories sell. People see your success, but they need to hear your story so that they can understand the glory.
Yeah.
Telling your story allows them to be able to relate and feel encouraged that they can do this as well. Okay, so that was in reference to things that you were talking about earlier. But man, you laid that out. You laid that out. I'm telling you that and unfortunately, sometimes the young men they don't know they need you, but they do. They do. They really do.
Men, and that men, when we get 12, 13, 14 years old, I'm a man and we don't need anybody. It's us men, we are difficult to reach because we feel invincible and we think we know everything. It's hard to reach them. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have to. We have to get to them.
Yeah.
Do what we can. Within our power, within Better Man Than Me Foundation's power, we have to. And, because it's easy to just kind of sit back and say, oh, you know what, they're just going to do what they're going to do, or what have you. They're going to shoot up. They're going to do this. No. Let's not do that because that's somebody's son.
That's right.
Somebody's son.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times what happens is we see this big problem, and it is a big problem. And a lot of people feel like if I can't fix everything, I won't fix anything. If I can't fix everything, I won't fix anything. So, but what I've decided to do, and a lot, not just me, there's a lot of great organizations out here, even in Chicago, is doing a lot of great work. Well, what these people decided to do is let me impact my world. Let me reach who I can reach, right? I can't fix everything, but I can fix something, right? And I read a quote on social media the other day. If just one person's life has been bettered, I know that's not a word, but is better as a result of your life, then your life has not been in vain.
Wow.
Just improve one person's life, then your life has not been in vain.
Yeah. Because you have to think it will trickle down.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
will trickle down from that one person to another.
Yeah.
I see you, Cousin DeMarc. I thank you for coming on. Make sure you guys click that share button. We're talking again today, if you're just now joining us, to the founder of Better Man Than Me Foundation. Better Man Than Me Foundation. And he's like, you know why we're laughing right now. But no, Better Man Than Me Foundation. And he wants to help our young men, our young women as well, help our families and our communities. We talked about your international speaking. Look, I'm kind of going through here a little bit, making sure I'm not skipping over anything. And how, with your success story, I see over 10,000 that you've served for young men, and the thousand young ladies. Can we kind of talk about them? Because we've kind of made it, kind of pretty here, made it like, it was all easy for you. Can we kind of talk a little bit about the aspect of it, how, even getting this foundation started, the obstacles that you faced, even after you got it started, maybe you had some individuals who you were helping. I don't need your help, man. What, you get out my face or what have you? Can we talk about that? I like to look at the whole,
You,
whole
you, uh,
aspect.
you are God woman because you know that it was not easy. It is not. The first problem that I faced was amongst a lot of people that I thought would be in my corner, right? I thought, okay, I'm about to do this good thing, and there's going to be a whole lot of people that support me. But what I found out that there are a lot of people that were in my circle kind of looked at me like, first of all, who do you think you are, right? Who do you think you can't help? You're not qualified to help or whatever. So I got a lot of hate, is what I'm trying to say. I got a lot of hate, which fortunately, by the time I got to that point, there were even people in that I did not tell, and they had to find out once it was all established. And I remember a lot of them being upset, and I purposely had to tell them. And I remember saying this, the reason why I didn't tell you, because I was not going to be stopped. I was not going to be talked out of doing what God has called me to do. And I know you, right? I know you. I know the doubt. I know the negativity. So let me not be around this. So that was my first problem. And then my second problem, I thought the brothers was coming. And what I found out is we got a lot of support, especially at the beginning, from women. A lot of women have supported our organization. And I'm not judging, man. I felt hurt and confused about that. But then I had to think back a lot of times when I was in a situation, when I was climbing the corporate ladder, raising kids, right? I was giving back, but I was in the thick of things. And a lot of men are like, look, I hear you, I got it, but I don't have time and energy. I got my own 3 kids and my own family. So it was a struggle to get the brothers to come, and it's gotten a lot better, right? And then, yeah, absolutely, young men. So here's what we did. We started out ANet because I've taught college universities for about 20 years. I said, what I'm going to do is rent out a building. We're going to get some pizza. I'm going to invite a couple of my colleagues that also are part-time professors, and we're going to teach leadership training classes, right? And I rented out the building. I got some refreshments. I advertised all over the city of Chicago, got another one of my part-time professors to come in. And remember, mind you, all over the city of Chicago, flyers, Facebook, all over. We got 8 boys to come. But I'm like, cool, 8 boys. 8 boys is 8 boys. They were bored out of their minds. Bored, like, please. And half of them were there because I knew their mothers, and their mothers made them come. So I went back and said, this is not working. It's not working. And God told me, meet these boys where they are. So then we started the BMT Breakfast Club. I took them, the boys like to eat. So I took about 10 boys every month on the 4th Saturday of every month. We went to a restaurant every month, and we sat and we talked about football and girls and sex and police brutality and whatever they wanted to talk about. Then those group of boys got bored and said, Dr. P, all we do is eat. Can we do something else? I'm like, okay, what do you want to do? Let's play ball. And that was the kicker. So we went from having 8 to 10 boys in our group to having almost, I think, 60 boys attend our monthly basketball and mentoring session, because Black boys like to play ball. And what we would do is have a mini session where, okay, we're going to create teams, and the team that win gets $100. So if you got 5 boys on a team, each boy get $20, right? But these boys were out there playing ball like they were making $1 million, so passionate, and they were going in. And then at halftime, I would sit them down, get some refreshment, and I would bring in a financial advisor, a minister, a lawyer, a policeman for about 20 to 30 minutes. And we would talk about something relevant to boys, because then I had a captive audience. And I would tell you, a lot of times those boys would come to me, wow, I was really touched, or I really needed to hear that, or come to the speaker and say the same thing. So we would do that. And then at the end, we would give them their $20 or what have you, right? And we did that for about 5 to 6 years. We were paying the YMCA, renting out the YMCA. The YMCA, after the second month, came to us and said, look, if you promise to keep coming, we won't charge you, because the boys in this neighborhood love this program. I said, that ain't nothing but God, because we couldn't afford to pay the rent at the time. So we did that. But that's kind of how we started. And with these particular young men, a lot of them have gone on, a lot of them keep in contact with me now. But we were able to reach young men there. And we talked a lot about the things that was going on. I had a law student come in one time who was a former gangbanger. So he was talking about his path, right? I had a youth minister come in. He talked about his path of being the blackest boy in his family, out of 10 kids, and colorism. So we talked about some of everything, and we were able to minister. And then I was able to bring in once a minister about 4 years ago. The violence was so high that summer. And I put this picture on my Facebook page, and we prayed over those boys, prayed that God would protect them and keep them. And to this day, not a one of those young men, and this was over on Racine near Roseland, which is a rough area, God has protected every one of those young men.
Wow. And because I was just about to ask you, and I didn't know how to ask. Have you lost anybody that has come through your foundation, to senseless violence?
We have.
Okay.
We did one. This was prior to this. I had a young man that was a mentor. He was not he was my mentee, but he wanted to be a mentor. And he would come and do different sessions. And he actually bought a home, I believe, in Indiana. And he was actually mentoring the young men in his neighborhood, bringing them into his home and mentoring young men that were caught up in gang violence. And the way it was told to me, the gang leaders did not like that. And they shot him and killed him as a result of the work that he was doing in his neighborhood. Yeah, that was hard.
I'm sure. I'm so sure. That was the only one?
Yes, the only one.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Hate that happened.
Yeah.
It unfortunately just goes to show you where that area was mentally and everything else. And if they didn't feel that this individual can come and make they probably didn't care about making a positive difference. Obviously, right. Maybe you in on my turf or whatever, I don't know.
Exactly. And this was an educated young man that just got his master's, just got engaged, just purchased a home, and was focusing on helping these young men, and they took him out. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you off camera about that because I want to know a little bit more. My mind, it goes, I'm thinking about the assailants. I mean, were they caught? Will they get help, or what have you?
Yeah. I don't know that. I don't think they've ever caught anybody in that. I'd have to find out. I don't think so.
Interesting. All right. I see you guys here, and I'm going to be nice and come back over here and read your responses, your questions. Marcus says, we need to duplicate Dr. Phillips times 1,000. I agree, Marcus. Buddy says, your warm market, your inner circle is where you will get the strongest pushback.
Yes.
They know you so well, so they think that they will put limitations on you.
Yeah.
That is so true. Oh my goodness, I can take that and go somewhere with that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, the Bible says a prophet is without honor in his own country, right? That's why Jesus struggled, because here I am. Jesus said, I'm the Lord. They're like, no, you Mary's boy. You Joseph's little boy. You're a carpenter, right? So I get it, right? And I don't know who said that. I forget the name, but they're right. You Paul, you Uncle Paul, right? You Carolyn's son. Who do you think you are, right? So I get it. But fortunately, God at that particular time, because I have been talked out a lot of the things in that, but at that moment, and I started building this in December of 2009. And you didn't ask me this, but I was in my condo by myself, and there was a snowstorm, so no family could visit for about a week. It was me. And that week, God began to remind me the vow that I made to him when I was a little kid. Here you are now with all this education, living in this great big old place. And I took out my laptop and I began to research, how do you start a nonprofit? How do you start a foundation? How do you write a mission statement? But it took me from December 2009 to April 2011 to actually start it, because I started, who's going to be on my board? I need somebody that is smart, that has my heart, that's not afraid of me, that's not afraid to give you all of that stuff. I had to build it up, right? So that's how, this all got started.
Oh, okay. That's good background. Thank you. And might I add, Brandy said, that's it. Might I add, when you were mentioning about dealing with those young men, that took wisdom. And I know that you had to seek God out when you first started it, because they were like, okay, this is boring. Yeah, I don't know what the age range, you said it was 8 to 10 guys. I don't know what the age range was, but yeah, you have to meet them. I mean, we can't emphasize that enough. You got to meet them where they are. And then wisdom to go out there on the basketball court and, you grabbed them, so they were like, okay, yeah. You fed me. Yeah. We played a little ball. Okay. Now I can hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
Hey, I tell I love to eat. Let's see here. Marcus says, it's always hard being the pioneer of something great, even when the people you thought would support you didn't.
Yeah.
The great ones realize this. He said, awesome job, Doc. Awesome job. Yeah. Brandy says, that's a hard realization to come to learn that people you run with don't deem you worthy of walking out your calling.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's deep.
That's
deep. And you want to emphasize on that or say anything else?
No, she was absolutely right. It was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, right? To feel like people that you think respected you and trusted you and looked up to you, and what I've learned, Annette, is people are with you. I call them, and I wrote this, I don't know what I was going to do with it. They're undercover haters, right? People are with you as long as you're struggling. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Or if you do as good as them. But if they feel like you're doing better than them, it becomes a problem, right? And I've learned to look for you can always find an undercover hater, because when you begin to win, they're silent. They're silent. We all got them, right? When you start doing what God has called you to do, right? And I'm going to lead this organization, they're going to come out, right? Oh, that's a good job, right? But they're silent. Or when you ask for, let me put it through, I said I wouldn't want to say this, but when you ask them to go like your Facebook page, it costs no money. Or when you ask for a donation of $20 and they can't afford it, but then you look on Facebook, they're at the Beyonce concert and pay $200 for the ticket. Now I'm venting. Now I'm saying too much. But this is, but thank God for those faithful few. Because let me say this, I have not done this by myself. No man is an island, and there have been some people that have come along at pivotal moments, strategic moments, that have lent me their building, lent me their camera equipment, let me use their gym, right? Gave me words of wisdom, gave me some services and for free that I didn't have to pay for. Thank God, because when you do what God has called you to do, he will provide the resources. It may not be, a lot of times it's not going to come from where you think it's going to come from. The most help that I've received have been from strangers.
Yeah. See, now you're starting up some stuff. You do realize that, right?
Yes, yeah.
But you're telling the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm over here sitting, I'm chuckling to myself. The Lord knows why I'm chuckling, because I totally agree with everything you're saying. And I've experienced that. I have experienced that. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm the baby in my family. Oh, you just the baby girl. You Mary's baby girl. What you doing?
Right.
No. And you don't get that respect and or the help that you thought that you would from, especially those that are close to you a lot of times. And yeah, you are right. They will get silent. Those haters will get silent. You're right. And I've learned how to seek them out too.
Right. And a lot of times they misjudge you. One of the things that people started, oh, Paul's trying to get rich or Paul's trying to get famous. First of all, I don't want to be famous. I would love to be rich. But what we have done has cost us money, not made us money. It has cost us money. But God has provided, right? And one thing I've learned, and let's forget the Bible for a second, never, but one of the things I've learned, when you give, it's going to be given back. That is a law. That is a law. And and that's another thing that I teach young men. Oh, Dr. P, you got this, you got this, you got that. I said, that's because I give. And when you give, it's going to come back. One of the reasons why some of these very wealthy, well-off people are the way they are, that don't recognize God, but they're givers. They're givers. And when you give, the Bible didn't say you got to be saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, and then I'll give back unto you. He said, give, and it shall be given, right? So I'm going to be a giver for the rest of my life, and I know I'm going to be good. And when I leave here, my kids are going to be good, right? So that's some of the things that I teach young men. Don't give to get, but do know that when you give, you will get. Yeah.
Brandy says, you are preaching. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm just letting you just go. I'm gonna give him the floor. He's taking the floor. That's good. This is good stuff. Buddy says here, Annette, let me say thank you for consistently giving us a well-prepared show with all of your guests. Again, you're helping somebody somewhere. I've enjoyed Dr. Phillips on today, another brother to rub elbows with. He's saying another great show. Buddy, I appreciate you. I know you try to come in on your lunch hour watching, so I appreciate that. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, Dr. Paul. I knew this was going to happen. I just knew it. And you know how you kind of get a good feeling, about somebody and about, talking with them or what have you. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it. Let's see. What'd you say, Dr. Hill? Oh, I think they're trying to make sure you come back on the show. Yes, that's what they're putting in the comments. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. That helps. That really does. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have to have him back. We have so much, but we're not ending yet. I just have a few more things I want to do. What I want to do right now is I want to throw this spoken word in here from Elder Kevin McGee. He penned it. He has a show with Intellectual Radio as well entitled Connections. And it's every Saturday at 12 noon Central Standard Time. So I want you guys to take a listen to this, and then we'll come back. And this is so, I have some more questions that I have for Dr. Paul, and it looks like you all do as well. So let's take a listen to this, and we will return.
Am I my brother's keeper? The one to make a difference in the lives of other kings who have yet to discover their royalty, but have instead given their loyalty to the mindset of settling for whatever comes, because no one is there to show them where their crown is. And so they struggle with homelessness, poverty, dependency on things that will further detach and alienate them from their destiny. And all they need is an extended hand. A hand to save them from drowning in a quagmire of despair and the quicksand of societal stereotypes. So am I my brother's keeper? Let me think as I extend my hand before my brother goes under. Now, my king, I need you to hold still and stand fast, because as I grab your hand, I'm investing myself into you. Every move that I make will reflect on you, because I choose to be the example and the pattern to help you understand that I must handle you with care, with a steady hand. Make sure your head is going in the right direction, because I realize that if I don't do my part, then I can lose you forever. For you may turn to others who may not take proper care and will not care how you are presented to society. So with a steady hand, I slowly and carefully lift you up, provide the help you need to become the man that you are destined to be. So am I my brother's keeper? The answer to that is, sure enough.
Wow.
I love it.
That was nice. You enjoyed it?
Very much.
Good, good, good.
Powerful. Powerful.
Yes, yes, yes. I always enjoy Elder McGee. You know, I can tell him something. I have this guest on, and I don't really give him a whole lot of details. I mean, because I have your bio and all that stuff. He doesn't know. So I know
Right.
that the Lord gives it to him. Yeah,
Yes.
how to do it. Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. Whew, okay, let me come back down a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed that spoken word here on my live feed, and let us know what you think about it. Let's see. Yeah, because he talked about so much in that, you know,
Yeah.
about how to reach them, you know, those who the disadvantaged, and you know, and making sure that we lift them up. This is what you're
Yeah.
doing. This is what you're doing.
Absolutely. And he's absolutely right. We are our brothers and sisters keeper. It's our responsibility to take care of one another. It is. So I love that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I don't know if he's still on. He's an educator, so sometimes he pops in on the show. So I'll let him know as well that you enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Now I want to kind of switch a little bit and talk about this dominate. Come on, let's talk about this dominate a little bit. Maybe kind of pull this in. You all see he's advertising. And if you are not his friend on Facebook, you need to become his friend, because
Yeah.
I love how he promotes and pushes this that I'm going to have him tell you about, this dominate, and why. How do we get to this? Because look, I'm seeing you created is it a rap song?
Absolutely a rap song. Why you sound so surprised?
I was trying to fall back because I thought I read that, so I was trying to make sure. So hopefully I didn't mean to make it sound like that. I'm sorry, Dr. Paul.
Oh, yeah.
So it says here, okay, you're the executive producer of a documentary called Hope,
Yeah.
The Light at the End of the Tunnel.
Yes.
You're also the executive producer and co-writer of the single. It's a rap song. Is it called Dominate? Is that the name?
Call
Okay.
Dominic. Yeah.
And they were both released in 2016.
Yeah.
And that you also produced an album titled Better Man. Come on, talk to me about these three accomplishments that you've done here. Come on.
So absolutely. So again, we started Dominate because initially when we started the organization, we're asking for donations, right? And I found that a lot of people, especially some of our people, you know, we don't like giving without getting something. So I'm like, all right, what can we provide to our supporters, right? So actually, Dominate started, I was actually in prayer one morning around 5:30 a.m. and I was reading the scripture, Genesis, the first chapter, and the 26th through the 28th verse. And it said, let men take dominion over the earth, right? And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to have dominion. In other words, he wants us to dominate. And this is what I teach a young man. You need to dominate in your careers, in your relationships, and what have you. You need to dominate, meaning you need to win, right? So again, tying back to meeting the young men where they are, when I speak, one of the things I always do, I ask young men, what do you aspire to do when you become an adult? And a lot of our Black young men want to do one of two things. They want to be an NBA player or they want to be a rapper, right? So I'm like, how can I meet the young men where they are? Let's write a rap song and call it Dominate. So I wrote this rap song called Dominate. Of course, I did not have the, what's the word I'm looking for, courage to perform it. So we actually found a performer, Mateo Bryson, in the city of Chicago. He's the artist on this particular song. I wrote it. I gave it to him. He's like, no. Because I wrote it from a 50-year-old college professor perspective with full sentences and punctuation and what have you, which is not how you write a rap song. So he wrote it and he left some of my words in there. Thank you. And we produced this rap song, and it's actually on iTunes and Google Play and what have you. But it's one, to inspire people to dominate. And it's two, hey, go buy this rap song and all the proceeds go towards our foundation. But then about a year later, we said, let's create a clothing line. So we created a clothing line. We have hoodies, we have sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats, and what have you. All says dominate. Again, to inspire people, to inspire young men to dominate and to win in life. And I always tell you, it might be a little white lie, but our shirts are magic. When you put them on, go work out, it's gonna make you work out harder. It's probably
Man,
not
right here, I'm telling you, he works out like all the time. Again, you all catch him. If you don't, you're not his Facebook friend, you need to become that. Because I can have some magic to make me exercise.
right.
I was gonna ask you, oh my goodness. Okay, wait, hang on. So dominate, all right. Now it's on YouTube though? Because I was gonna try and look it up real quick.
Yeah, it is on YouTube. You might have to look up the artist name, Mateo Bryson.
Okay.
Yeah, Mateo, Mateo. Let me see if I can find it, because I found that with iTunes,
Is it Bryson?
Bryson, yes.
Okay. I'm trying to look it up, guys, because I wanted to see if I can play it. I didn't know. Maybe we could have it. Maybe we can just like post it later where they can find it.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about we do that, guys? But I'm telling you, oh man, he's okay. Dominate, to inspire. Now give us the 3 reasons again to inspire them to do what?
To inspire them to win in life, in career, in school, and in life. Yes.
Okay. All right. Dominate. They say yes, dominate. They see it on here. Okay. All right. Yeah, you guys follow him. I'm sure I don't know if you're maxed out on Facebook or not, but maybe they can follow you there or on Instagram as well. Hey, Lorenzo, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. Again, make sure you guys click that share button. Somebody found it. It's that Brandy, I'm telling you. Looks like she found it on Spotify.
Oh, yes, it's on there as well.
Okay. There's a link there, guys, in the comment section for the song Dominate. It's on Spotify. Yes, and Dominate. That's right, Lorenzo. Carmen says, I love it. I know the shirts are meant for men, but do you have any in pink for women?
We
That's
do.
a good question.
We have pink, we have the bling, the rhinestone. Yes, we have, I have an awesome supplier and she makes sure I never forget the women. Yes. Yeah.
She makes sure. So yeah, I'm sure she will. The woman, more power to her.
Exactly. Yes. Also,
Okay.
I think we
Now,
have over 100 products, almost 100 products out there.
is there a website?
Yes, the dominateproductions.com. Dominateproductions.com. There, click on the clothing store up there. You'll see that, and you'll see our music out there as well.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all getting extra today. Oh, wait a minute.
There it is. That's it.
I don't own the rights, but I have the author on here, so he's good, Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Focus, never off balance. The recipe to win is easy. Success and a quiet palate. It's driving a little ambition. The keys got me sounding gallant. All about the healthy living. Every human being needs bread and salad. Everything for me is sport. Honestly, I want the whole palace. Everything for me is flourish. Seeds must be in my chalice. They say you shouldn't drink and drive, but my drive got me all over the atlas. This grind got me putting up jumpers, so success is automatic. Never losing faith, never losing pace, never stop going, never lose the race. Let the losers lose, let the haters hate. The only thing we do, one word, dominate. You know I never back down from a challenge. Focus, I'm never off balance. The recipe to win is easy. Results like voila, magic. The challenge, Larry Bird. The results, Kareem and Magic. The results, they stem from habit. Routine, yes, I work at it. Remember what you're in this for. Created to win and soar. The waves get rocky to anchor. Don't waver to the end reward. You don't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want Facebook to take me down, but I hope they heard me. Okay, I'm still sharing my screen, guys, because I wanted you to see the clothing
Yeah.
line. This is accurate, right?
Yes, this is correct.
Okay, so I see the feminine styles and bling. Can I click on this? Let
Yes,
me
you
see
can.
here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, somebody gonna be making an order on today. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. And got my sisters dominate, just dominate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can do a close up where they can see it. All right, so that's the front of one of them and dominate on the back. Ooh, these are some decent prices too, guys. Come on, here's the bling bling.
Yeah, that's the bling.
Yes, you know we women, we love to, we you know, we special.
Yeah.
All right, so Carmen, hopefully that answered your question. It looks like they have all kind of the hats, the hooded shirts, the leggings, yoga, sleeveless hoodies, tank tops. Oh my goodness, compressed. Oh, you guys, please go to this website, dominateproductions.com. Okay, dominateproductions.com. I'm gonna stop this share here and come back. Yeah, we got a little extra on here today. My goodness. Yes, yes. They were loving the song. Okay, yeah. So obviously when you open up that website, that comes up the song, which is perfect production there. And this is some great stuff. Okay, wait a minute. Now, did we get to, I asked you about the song and what about the album?
The album is the same thing. Album became as a result of mentoring a group of young men, and they were artists, very talented. So for a while there, for about 3 or 4 years, we had a group called Better Man, and we produced an album. These are all artists from the city of Chicago, traveled all over the city, performed at the Gospel Fest, performed in Dallas, Texas. The original songs that we created in a studio that we actually own. So for a while there, I owned a music studio called Dominate Productions Studios. And is where we produced our music. And again, as a vehicle to reach young men that are interested in the arts and that are interested in hip hop music, right? All of our music is very positive, but is hip hop music. And we have some gospel songs. There's actually a song on there called Ready for War that I'm actually on. So I'm an artist. No, I'm not singing. I'm actually doing the Kirk Franklin.
Now that was hilarious.
Right. I'm ad-libbing is what I'm doing.
Right. Folks didn't really, Kirk had a lot of folks fooled when he first came out. Folks
Exactly.
didn't realize that Kirk couldn't really sing. I
Right.
love it, Kirk, but he couldn't sing. So that's why he had other folks singing for him and he would ad lib.
Which is what I did. So, yeah.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. You're doing this again because you want to inspire individuals, and that's what we need. Again, you're meeting them where they are. You're
Absolutely.
meeting them where they are. You know, the rap song, somebody might say, "What you doing, rap? You know, aren't you a church guy, whatever?" No, sometimes you just have to meet them where they are. That's not going to take you to hell. It is
Absolutely.
not. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, what you're doing is going to, help. And God's like, okay,
Absolutely.
you're doing what I told you to do.
Exactly. And there's no profanity in our songs. We do not disrespect women or anybody. You know, it's an inspirational song with a hip hop beat.
All right. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can't see you disrespect, not the way you handle yourself. I couldn't see you even allowing that in those songs. Not
Yeah,
something
no.
that you're a part of.
Nope.
No,
Absolutely not. Yeah.
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. Let's see here. I want to make sure that I have covered what I wanted to cover on today. This has been tremendous. Dr. Paul, I'm telling you guys, he has been we already talked about him going all over the world, speaking, international speaker, but he's also been on various radio stations, WGCI, WVON, WMBI, 102.3, Inspiration 1390, and others. I know he's been on TV because I've seen him on TV before myself. He's been featured on TVN and also Harvest TV show. He's been featured in newspapers such as the Chicago Crusader, Chicago Defender, Columbia Chronicles, and the DNAinfo.com. I have somebody on my show today, y'all. I just want y'all to know. Okay, this is somebody. I want to mention the awards that he's received, including the Barnabas Award in March of 2015, Impacting Our World Award in October of 2015, and the Man of Excellence Award in March of 2018, and the Unsung Hero Award in October of 2018. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. One last question before we actually kind of segue out of here on today. I'm looking at one of the statements in your bio talking about how you have ministered to ex-convicts as well, and helping to change them over to professional businessmen. What has been maybe, I don't want to say success rate, how many have you roughly that have maybe come out of prison, ex-convicts, that you have been instrumental in their life? Do you kind of roughly know how many that's been? Oh, did we get stuck? Oh no. Okay, guys, I'm gonna wait for him to pop back in. I'm sure that's probably just a fluke on the system. We know how technology is. It's okay. He'll come back in. But this was good stuff. Let's see. Brandy says she's gonna be cute at the gym. I am too, Brand. Well, my personal gym at home. But yeah. Oh, Carmen, it didn't answer your question about the clothes. Okay. All right. I'm just waiting to see if my guest can come back in. Unfortunately, we've experienced a little technical difficulty there, and we just want to kind of end with him on today. Now, I don't want you guys to go anywhere though, because I am going to have my little brother come in with us in a few minutes once we end with Dr. Paul on today. Yes, you guys, let me know, did you enjoy this show today? Did you enjoy hearing from Dr. Paul? I'm telling you, we need more like him. And there are others that are out here doing it. I'm not just saying he's the only one, but there are others that are out here. So if we, look at this foundation and know that it can be a blessing and a help to us, to our families, then we can benefit from it if we realize that. Let's see, I think he's messaging me. But yeah, this is tremendous. Hang on, I'm responding to him. But yeah, this foundation It's something that is going to help, again, our young men, our sons, our nephews, um, those that, maybe we see in the schools, we see up and down our neighborhoods. It seems like they're just kind of walking around aimlessly and don't really have any kind of direction. This foundation can help them. So if you are a parent or just someone that is concerned about, your loved ones or others that you see, what to, that maybe they're involved in some things that are not positive, and you see that they need help or they could receive help from Dr. Paul and his foundation, please make sure you reach out to him. At the bottom of the Facebook Live, his email is there. Yolanda Pounds, which I'm grateful for, actually put the actual email, which is Dr. Paul Phillips, which is his name, Dr. Paul Phillips, bmtm@gmail.com. That's his email. Dr. Paul Phillips, bmtm, better man than me, @gmail.com. You can email him. And then also his website is bettermanthanme.org. I'm going to make sure that I type in the right, bettermanthanme.org is his website. So make sure you contact him, or you can go on Facebook, as he mentioned earlier. You can go on Facebook and you can reach out to him, inbox him. He will be more than happy to hear from you, and he can help you. And I think, again, I wanted to feature him and his foundation on today because we need this. I've said it 1,000 times in this live feed. We need this. If we have methods in place such as this foundation, then we wouldn't have to worry about little 7-year-olds getting killed because of their maybe affiliation, their father or whoever else. If we look at foundations like this, he's back, then we wouldn't have to worry about, our young men getting gunned down because they will be out there doing something and making something of themselves. So this is what this foundation wants us to kind of focus on. Okay, he's back, guys. They were so sad. Oh my God, they were sad. I think they were going to come after me if you didn't come back in.
I apologize. I lost my connection there.
That's okay. He's back, guys. Buddy Gill says you must return to the show. It is so ordered. Buddy, I think Buddy thinks he's my dad or something. He tells me what I have to do with my show. But no, I appreciate him. And they were saying this is a great show. So let me throw the ball back to you as we're ending up today. Do you want to leave us with any words? And in so doing, of course, also remind them of where they can find you and how they can reach out to you, because they're looking for your foundation to help them in their situation.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks again so much for having me. This has been really fun. And I would like to say it is not at all about me. This is not about me. This is about us helping our young men, right? And we all can play a part. We can all do something in some way. We may not all be called to start a foundation, but I encourage you to support organizations that are helping young people. Donate. You don't have to donate to my organization. I hope you do. But there are a lot of great organizations that you can donate to, or you may just have someone in your circle of influence that you can reach out to and support. If you're an uncle or a grandfather or a big brother or a neighbor, right? Our young men need us because, I'll say it again, no one is coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. And I'll say this and I'll end it. God told me, just plant a seed. You can't fix a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old boy that has been through a lot of trauma overnight. But if you plant a seed, right, I will water that seed. So that's what we try to do, is plant a seed, because we can't live with them, right? We can't go home with them. But we plant a seed of positivity, of love, and we pray that it grows. So thank you so much for having me. And I pray that God bless your organization and your show, because you do an amazing job. I've been following you. I've been stalking you on Facebook, and you do an awesome job. So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. And just say a prayer for us.
All right. Well, I feel so honored that you follow me, because I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I'm
you have
like,
some.
we know how our connection was actually through his cousin, me just knowing about Paul back in how many years ago was this? Never you mind. Back when I was in my 20s. So I've always known of Dr. Paul through his cousin, Steve Harris. But I feel honored again that you have consented to join us on today, and what a wonderful job that you have done explaining what you do, your foundation, and how you help people, basically, bottom line. And I did, while we had the technical difficulty, I did make sure to inform individuals they can email you, inbox you, or go to your website for any further information. And I pray that you all will do just that, because this is God's man, and God has him doing this work. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe it. Let's see. I'm making sure there's nothing else on here. Lorenzo is speaking to you. Lorenzo Patterson.
Oh, yes. Lorenzo's been a great support to Dominate. He's a Dominate ambassador.
That's wonderful. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Beatrice says another amazing show. Planting seeds is key. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Great show today. Your guests are always inspiring. I can tell they were specially curated by you. Oh, thank you, Brandy. I like y'all. All right, so yeah, we're gonna head on out of here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm waiting on someone else to come in so I can talk about something else before I actually exit off of my live. But again, Dr. Paul, thank you. Please continue in what you are doing. Continue in it. I bid you Godspeed. I pray that God would just bless you abundantly in everything that you go to set your hands to do, because this is a great work from the Lord, and I want you definitely to continue. And we'll have you on again, okay?
All right. God bless you.
God bless you. Take
All right.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Get caught in a net with